Thanks for joining us today for another half-hour journey inside Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Adrian Atkinson. Coming up, our HealthWise segment continues to focus on COVID-19. Plus, see how the National Housing Trust can help you achieve home ownership. And later, we learn why we need to preserve our trees. Sit back and relax for these and much more that will unfold right after this important message. There have been misinformation and misconceptions about the coronavirus vaccines. Today, our first stop is HealthWise to provide you with a brief chronicle of the development of coronavirus vaccines and how that has led us to the ones for COVID-19.
In 2005, this huge global scare with SARS, the severe acute respiratory syndrome, when people were dying in Hong Kong and the Far East, and some cases even came to New York. That SARS in 2005 was caused by a coronavirus, which is a cousin to this virus, this coronavirus that causes COVID. So from 2005, they have been working on trying to get an effective vaccine to the SARS virus, and which also has a spike protein. And when the MERS epidemic came, this is the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, developed. In 2012, there were a number of cases, and that stimulated more research. So when the Chinese, in January of last year, identified the actual sequence of the genetic makeup of the coronavirus that causes COVID, and they made it publicly available to the scientific community, within 1 week, a German company had produced a test which we use here to identify whether you have been infected with the COVID virus. It's the Pcr test that we are using. It was developed 1 week after the virus was sequenced. And those vaccine scientists who were working on the SARS vaccine now, they just took the sequence that they got from the COVID virus and changed up their vaccine work a little bit and produced candidate vaccines in weeks. And then they had to take that vaccine and put it in clinical trials, 3 different stages, in animals, in a few, say, healthy adults to make sure it was safe. And then they put it in the trials with thousands of people. And these are the results that we are hearing about. It's not overnight. It is over 15 years. All the vaccines that have been reviewed so far are both effective and safe. It's not a live vaccine. It uses what we call a vector. They take the shell of a virus, a common cold virus, adenovirus, simply to get that into the body's system and into the immune system cells. And within that, there is a mimic of the spike protein, something just made that's similar to the spike protein that then induces in the human a response that helps to protect us against the coronavirus itself that causes the COVID disease. Now, this is technology that has been used many times in terms, so it's a traditional platform. There is no adjuvant, there is no harmful material in the vaccine, and the material in the vaccine that goes into the cells is rapidly broken down and removed by the body through normal methods. Now, how do we know it is safe? It is put in trials, thousands of persons, and what you do is you give the vaccine to some people and you give a placebo. In other words, something that does not have the vaccine, just a simple saline injection or equivalent. And you compare the side effects, and you can see that the only side effects that we've been seeing that are of any significance are like a swollen arm, a little fever, headache, tiredness, and these usually go within 24 hours. Now, why it's so important to have this comparison group that you give the placebo is because in every population, you will find that people develop different conditions from time to time. So you can compare these conditions that arise, including severe conditions that arise in those who did not get the vaccine and those who get the vaccine. And you can see that there is a similar pattern of these conditions that arise. But in the people who get the vaccine, there are signs, the response of the body, the little fever, headache, and the local reaction tells you that the body is responding to the vaccine and developing the antibodies and the cells that protect you against the COVID. There are very few cases of severe COVID requiring hospitalization in persons who are vaccinated. These vaccines are very effective and safe. When you get the vaccine, the body has to respond to it. So if you get exposed within the next week, it means that you could still become infected. So you still have to keep on your mask, maintain physical distancing. Now, the AstraZeneca vaccine, it takes on average, I would say, 2 to 4 weeks for you to really begin to develop good immunity. Yes. And then you get your second dose after 4 to 12 weeks. And that immunity shows to be very, very good, because among the persons who have 2 doses, very few of them got the COVID, very few of them. But even after 1 dose, you could see where after a few weeks, persons were protected from COVID, but the protection was not as full as when you got the second dose. Vaccine trials have shown they have been taking place on all continents, and we have now in trials tested the vaccine in hundreds of thousands of people.
These are very safe vaccines, and we don't anticipate any adverse reaction. The drug companies working through the COVAX arrangement that the WHO, World Health Organization, has coordinated, have said that the countries that are accessing the vaccines should sign an indemnity to essentially rid them of liability should anything happen, and that was a basis on which we would access the vaccine. The fact is that the process of getting to a vaccine, which the WHO would have validated, as was said earlier by Dr. Figueroa, gives us the comfort that we are getting a good product, a safe product. We recognize, because of the emergency approval process, why they would take this position. And what the government has done in response to that, or is doing in response, the government clearly will have to take on that responsibility. And so the Attorney General's Chamber, having gone through a process of discussion within the cabinet, would make necessary legal arrangements to meet those requirements. But at the same time, as a government, we clearly appreciate and understand that we have an obligation to our citizens. So we say to citizens, there is no need to fear. This is a safe product.
Trees play an integral role in sustaining the health of our livable environment on Earth. They help to regulate the water cycle and release oxygen in the air. Trees are, of course, also a source of food and shelter for humans and animals. It's therefore important to preserve them, and the Forestry Department, along with its partners, is making sure that happens.
Eroded coastlines, a rise in sea levels, hotter, longer dry seasons, shorter flood-prone wet seasons, more and stronger hurricanes. That's the face of climate change in Jamaica. But we have an important tool in the fight against the change in weather systems, and that's by planting a tree. Trees have been known to remove carbon dioxide and release oxygen into the atmosphere, and by this process reduce climate change. That's why the state has committed itself to a planting program tagged 3 million trees in 3 years. The number represents Jamaica's population of 3 million, and the trees will be planted over a 3-year period. Managed by the Forestry Department, the initiative will expand public and private forested areas. 2 million timber seedlings will be planted by the Forestry Department, and the rest will be issued to the public for planting. The project started in 2019 and has been steadily gaining traction. In a 1-year period, over 272,000 seedlings have been distributed for planting. They include a mixture of timber, ornamental, and fruit trees. Several public and private entities have come on board. And recently, the National Road Operating and Construction Company Limited, NROC, joined the campaign.
NROC has been constructing toll roads for the past 20 years, and we have built more than 100 kilometers of toll roads. When you build, obviously you then impact on the environment by removing existing trees. So as part of the project, we gave a commitment to put back trees that were lost, and not just put back trees, but put back additional trees over and above those which were taken out as part of the highway construction.
And so, 480 trees were planted along a section of the North-South Highway toll road in Nhd St. Catherine. The area is being used as a test site for NROC's plans to reforest and beautify lands adjacent to the toll road it manages. Blue maho, Spanish elm, and pink and yellow pui seedlings were planted.
As part of the process, the Forestry Department requires us to maintain the trees over at least a 3-year period until the forest is established. And then they will go into what they call their routine maintenance. NROC will undertake the cost for the maintenance over the period, but Forestry will actually do the actual implementation based on our discussion going forward with them. We are working on an MOU with the Forestry Department that will look at planting trees on the North-South Highway, the East-West Highway, and then when we get to Montego Bay, the Montego Bay Perimeter Road corridor.
We were approached by the UA Rotaract Society to plant trees, and we thought this was an ideal opportunity to partner with them to build on that initiative of planting 3 million trees as the PM had indicated.
One of the points that we came up with was trying to help with climate change. So we're doing a series of tree planting and beach cleanups.
The planting activities began early in the morning, but first, a demonstration in the proper way to plant a tree.
We don't want to plant it anywhere above this region here, all right? You end up burying the plant, so you're not killing the plant, right? It's not a funeral. You're trying to help it to grow and survive, right? Now when you're going to plant it, ensure that the soil, so right now we primarily have clay soil.
And then the planting began in earnest.
It's a good initiative in that it shows people that, it shows to them what it is like to plant a tree. Why it is important is actually really groundbreaking for us.
I think it's a great initiative because Jamaica, it's so beautiful, and if we could do our part in making sure that beauty stays, that natural beauty stays, that's all we need.
It's not often that you'll really see much over in a pandemic even, that people are really coming out. They're really being self-serving and giving of themselves to come and actually take care of the country which we have to call home. So, I mean, it's a pleasure. It's actually an honor to be a part of that kind of initiatives.
Replanting the trees will be good for our environment, good for our water system, as well as the air quality.
This is actually a good use. We're planting flowering ornamental trees so people see it from the highway. It makes the highway more attractive.
So it's been really enriching. It has taken me out of my comfort zone, and I can definitely say that I've learned a lot of things.
And I think it's really, really important, and that is why I took the time to come, because I think we need a lot more plants.
If you are interested in being a part of the 3 Million Trees initiative, contact the Forestry Department at 876-618-3205 or visit 173 Constant Spring Road. Remember, plant a tree today and secure your future tomorrow.
I'm Nigel Clark. I'm the Minister of Finance and the Public Service. We want a public service that is fair, a public service that values people, and a public service that delivers high quality services. And in order to do so, we need to transform the public service. Jamaica competes in a global environment. The technology has transformed the way in which the world works. And for us to remain competitive, the public service needs to be in a position to deliver services effectively, efficiently, and in good time.
Brought to you by the Transformation Implementation Unit.
Modernization is changing the ways we carry out our day-to-day functions. Government has been making the necessary adjustments to keep up with the times by creating systems and procedures within the public sector that are more purpose-driven and efficient. Watch this next feature to learn more.
Innovation steers our economic well-being, and at the cusp of our economy are our public entities. The thirst for improvement in areas such as ICT technology, human resource management, trade and investment, and management of public sector costs are being watered through the Public Sector Transformation Program. The Public Sector Transformation Program, PSTMP, has been reshaping the face of how we conduct business in our public offices across Jamaica by designing new processes and procedures purposed at creating an effective, efficient, and functioning environment for businesses. At some point, you may have been part of this experience. Excessive bureaucratic processes, high transaction costs and time, inadequate human resource management are some issues penned in the salutation that read, "Respectfully, we cannot continue as we are, as the people of Jamaica, our partners and colleagues, are adversely affected by inefficient service delivery, which, by extension, pulls on our economic strides." It was then enveloped and addressed over 4 years. A trained workforce equipped with the knowledge and tools to execute internal as well as external relations is critical to the success of this program. With this, the PSTMP has forged a design that will see the reform and modernization in the areas of efficiency and IT, shared corporate services, rationalization of public bodies, human resource management transformation, and compensation management. These projects are at varying stages of planning, design, and execution, but importantly, the vision is charted in action, and in some instances, the success is evident. Human resource departments across ministries, departments and agencies and government-led organizations are now privy to a digital rewrite with the new MyHR Plus online platform with over 16,000 public sector workers using the system. These projects aim to create a public sector environment fit for purpose, providing dependable services to civil servants, clients, and external partners. Standing at the center of the economy, it's pivotal that we build a structure that is strapping and robust, one that makes Jamaica the place of choice.
Owning a place to call home provides lasting comfort and security. If this is one of your goals and you are ready to make this important investment, you might want to check out the National Housing Trust.
Now is the time to build house. Now is the time to buy house. Now is the time to make that critical investment in your life.
If you're thinking of answering the Prime Minister's call, look no further than the National Housing Trust, NHD.
The NHD is following the mandate that they have been given, which is build house, build house, build house, and don't stop build house.
That's right. Since 1976, the National Housing Trust has been providing affordable housing solutions to Jamaicans. Established through an amendment to the National Insurance Act of 1976, the trust was formed by way of partnership between the government and public sector workers. The aim? To increase the housing stock available while providing financial assistance to the neediest contributors. Persons are able to build, buy, or repair their homes through the NHD by making contributions. That is, funds are deducted from one's pay in this revolving loan scheme.
Since 1976, we are proud to say that we've housed well over 200,000 Jamaicans and provided well over 100 housing schemes across Jamaica.
Persons may realize their homeownership dreams with the NHD by two main avenues. First, the trust develops housing units or serviced lots. Currently, there are over 40 such projects underway across the island. The NHD also provides mortgage financing for Jamaicans seeking to build or buy houses, purchase land, or make repairs on existing homes.
While we're not a regulator, we have different partnerships between developers, between contractors, between financiers in the market as well to see how best we can improve the overall aesthetics and the overall housing product, whether it be public or even private as well.
As a result, contributors can combine funds received from the NHD with that of private financiers. And the trust has also entered into agreements with developers to give even greater access to home ownership. In addition to partnering on the construction of houses, NHD makes lands available for developers to build houses.
One of our newer programs that we are particularly proud of is our Guaranteed Purchase Program, GPP for short, where we actually liaise with developers who have projects themselves that they have built and have brought out of the ground or they are about to do construction on. And what the NHD does in those instances is the NHD buys the units from the developers and make them available to our contributors. And we think it's a good one because it's a win-win-win situation because the developers win, they are good at building. And so they're able to do it at a faster pace, but they are not good at selling. They're not marketers. And the NHD, as you know, has a ready market, so the NHD can take those from the developers. The mortgagors win because they get these units at NHD's preferential interest rates as opposed to buying them on the open market. And the NHD wins because we get the actual units that we know our contributors want.
If you're thinking of realizing your home ownership dream with the NHD, think on these things.
Once you're a contributor, the NHD will assist you. So we always say start with the NHD, but really and truly it involves research. And we find that persons sometimes jump into the housing business and then they get frustrated after a couple weeks or a couple months because they're not quite prepared as to what to expect. So we say come in, sit down, have a conversation with us, see what the loan products are, see what the interest rates are, see what your general mortgage options are. You may want to buy, but in that discussion you realize that you have some piece of land that has been passing through your family and there's a title for it. You probably want to build instead because that could turn out much cheaper than actually having to buy. So start with that conversation with the NHD, and our officers, they are always well equipped to guide you through the process. As you go through the process, there are different requirements, whether you're building or you're buying, that you will have to satisfy. But generally we want to know that you're able to afford a mortgage. So we will look at your affordability, which is a big part of it. So look at how much you earn, look at what interest rate that goes along with that income, with as low as 0%. So you want to ensure that you tap into what benefits you can get from the NHD. And then we have partnerships with other mortgage institutions. So if you want beyond the NHD's limit of 6.5 million, we have a one-stop shop where you can just partner with any of the other institutions, and we facilitate that process for you as well. So do the research, see where you are, see what the options are, and just come in, have a conversation with the NHD, have a conversation with your realtor, have a conversation with your mortgage provider, and just stick to the process. It generally takes about 90 days. So manage those expectations and ensure that you hire competent professionals to guide you through each step of the process, whether you're building, whether you're buying a house or you're buying land. Ensure you hire, can't stress that enough, qualified, competent individuals to guide you.
If you're in the market for a place to call home, here are some of the NHD projects that will be ready soon. Industry Cove in Hanover, Perth Estate in Manchester, Money Musk in Clarendon, Silverson Estate Phase 2 in St. Catherine, and Ruthven Towers in Kingston and St. Andrew. For further information on NHD products, be sure to visit nhd.gov.jm or your local parish office. Contact customer care, We Care at nhd.gov.jm or call 876-929-6500 to 9. Your housing dream might just be a call away.
We are at the end of today's journey. You've been great company. Be sure to join us again tomorrow for another informative show. Until then, continue to watch these and other programs by logging on to our website, jis.gov.jm, or subscribing to our YouTube channel. You can also find us on all the major social media platforms and through our mobile app that's Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Until next time, do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.